Want to raise your chess to a new level? Challenge Yourself is an exclusive, innovative experience. Want to raise your chess to a new level? Challenge Yourself is an exclusive, innovative experience designed for Chess24 Premium members. Train like a champ, with a unique set of lessons prepared by the coaches of the challengers. Boris Girlfriend and Co. will help you improve your chess. Play versus a champ. Play a grandmaster each day in Banter Blitz. Take advantage of this incredible opportunity from June 10th. Go premium and challenge yourself. Want to raise your chess to a new level? Challenge Yourself is an exclusive, innovative experience designed for Chess24 Premium members. Train like a champ, with a unique set of lessons prepared by the coaches of the challengers. Boris Girlfriend and Co. will help you improve your chess. Play versus a champ. Play a grandmaster each day in Banter Blitz. Take advantage of this incredible opportunity from June 10th. Go premium and challenge yourself. Want to raise your chess to a new level? Challenge Yourself is an exclusive, innovative experience designed for Chess24 Premium members. Train like a champ, with a unique set of lessons prepared by the coaches of the challengers. Boris Girlfriend and Co. will help you improve your chess. Play versus a champ. Play a grandmaster each day in Banter Blitz. Take advantage of this incredible opportunity from June 10th. Go premium and challenge yourself. Want to raise your chess to a new level? Challenge Yourself is an exclusive, innovative experience designed for Chess24 Premium members. Train like a champ, with a unique set of lessons prepared by the coaches of the challengers. Boris Girlfriend and Co. will help you improve your chess. Play versus a champ. Play a grandmaster each day in Banter Blitz. Take advantage of this incredible opportunity from June 10th. Go premium and challenge yourself. Want to raise your chess to a new level? Challenge Yourself is an exclusive, innovative experience designed for Chess24 Premium members. Train like a champ, with a unique set of lessons prepared by the coaches of the challengers. Boris Girlfriend and Co. will help you improve your chess. Play versus a champ. Play a grandmaster each day.
Alright, welcome everybody. Here for another day of Banter Blitz. So this should be some fun, and hopefully we'll get some good games in. Let me make sure I have the chat open, and then we can start playing. So let's see who plays first. Seeing a lot of familiar faces, but let's play with Lubjean. This person I don't think I've played with before. So good luck to you, Lubjean. I'm supposed to be playing my repertoire, so here goes. Just grab my water bottle. G4, G6. Okay, so yes, so the way I was sort of offering in the course was I just wanted to take a big share of the center here. Against D4, G6, against G6 on move 1, you should basically either try to play it like a King's Indian and take the big center, or you should play it like a dragon and try to give mate. So I'm going to play it more like a King's Indian and take a big center. So here we're getting some sort of Benoni-like thing. Let's go knight D2. To remain consistent with the repertoire. And so basically by one move or another, we just ended up in a straight ahead Benoni. And we'll see how well I remember this stuff, because it's been a while since I got a chance to review it. So castle. What now? Okay, so A4. Whenever they play A6, you always just play A4 without thinking. But what am I supposed to do here if I remember? I think it's rook e1, and then g5 I can go knight c4 is the point? Or is it h3 first, or am I just too old to remember anything useful? Let's start with rook e1, I think is the move. I'm pretty sure this is right, yeah, because if knight e5 I can go f4, knight g4, bishop f3, and I have the e3 underscore under control, I'm ready for h3. All right, so that I'm not sure I believe in, because you're not actually threatening b5. So I'm just going to proceed along with h3, which is generally a useful move in this structure. And if black ever plays g5, that weakens the king side, and I can play knight c4. All right, so knight f8 I don't understand at all. I don't know where that knight is going, so I'm just going to tuck my bishop back. And if he plays bishop d7 to try to force b5 through, then knight c4 comes. And this is bad news for black, because now his pieces don't coordinate, and I think actually the d6 pawn is just straight up falling. And if that's the case, black can basically resign. I guess he can try b5, knight d6, and just give material, but no, here this game is over. This knight f8, bishop d7. Like, black needs to be able to trade off a pair of minor pieces, and he just wasn't able to do it, and here he's already absolutely done for. Is there a rating floor that I don't violate? Oh yeah, guys, I should mention. I only correspond with chat on Chess24, not on YouTube or Twitch. So, but Nashvilleian Chess is saying, is there a rating floor that I don't violate? No, I try to play with a diverse range of players. So don't be shy about giving challenges. I always get a lot of them, so I just try to give a lot of people a chance to play. All right, so here knight d5 comes, and I think black is very much falling apart. So yeah, it's good to see a good turnout today. So here, I think this game is approximately finished. So d6, yeah. So people are saying, can I play the Scandinavian one game? No, I'm sticking with my Chessable repertoire, which I can probably find a quick link for and put it in the chat. Let me do that right now, actually. Chessable, okay, yeah. So here, let's go Chuki, and then courses, and then Rookie 7, and this is going to be mate. So just put this in, and then I will put my repertoire in the chat there before giving checkmate. So yeah, the repertoire is in the chat. I will not play the Scandinavian. I'm not a guy who can play bad openings and get away with it. Some people are good enough to do that, and I'm not one of those people. So let's to resize this a little bit, make it bigger. Here, that helps. Okay. All right, so who's next? Let's play with Ruthless Decision. Good luck, Ruthless Decision. Show me what you got. All right, so the Scandinavian, is it just a bad opening? I mean, it's not like a terrible opening, but it's really not a great one either. I don't think it's particularly strong. I think there's a lot of better openings you can play with black. Now, sure, there are some worse openings too, but yeah. So basically here, in this line, I think black gets a pretty comfortable position by putting the bishop on g7. It's all because he didn't get to play c3. Now here I'm actually just gobbling a pawn right away. But in general in this line, I think white should be a bit more flexible with his move order, because if he plays c4 directly, my bishop knows it wants to go to g7. But the bishop is only good on g7 if white doesn't play c3. So when he played c4 that quickly, I don't think that really does him any favors. So yeah, I'm just going to start trading some stuff here. But after bishop c3, I don't think I want to trade dark square bishops. So I think the best lines for white in this variation remain somewhat flexible, in that eventually they play c4, but because they like play like castles and queen e2 or something first, essentially black will have to make up his mind about his bishop, and once that happens, he'll play e6, and then you can play for c4. And I still think black's okay, but yes, his position is a bit more precarious than it is here. I mean, now I'm just a pawn up, but yeah. So he goes for d4, and we can get this typical Sicilian structure. And I think I'm just going to go for like rook ac8 and b5. Seems like a sensible enough way to try to break down the pawn structure from the side. And I don't think, yeah. So it says, look is more and more like Castaway. I have bad news. I'm shaving tomorrow morning. I have carved time out of my calendar to actually shave, which is normally something I do pretty more frequently than as of late. But yeah, I haven't shaved in like 3 weeks, and all this lovely facial hair is about to disappear. So this is going to be the last chance to see me looking like a caveman for at least a little while. But yeah. Okay, so here now I end up with this amazing bishop as well. Okay, so knight e5 strikes me as a move that's too fancy for its own good. Sure, I can't take it, but its knight doesn't have a great square to go to. I don't know why. So to Nashvilleian Chess, how much advantage is there to paying the extra cost for videos on Chessable? There's definitely some advantage. Like there's things that I just physically can't explain without video. For example, when I put a lot of arrows in my courses to try to illustrate key themes. But one thing you can't do with ChessBase, or at least I don't know how to do, is to indicate which order the arrows come in. So just when you see me physically drawing one arrow before the other in the video, I think is very helpful. There's times when arrows in the course won't make any sense because I'm talking about a variation, and then 5 moves into the variation, I will show the arrow. So that already is helpful. And I do my best to like explain the course in. You have more tools visually to just to explain it with video. Do I think video is essential for the course? Absolutely not. There's no doubt you can make good use of the course without it, but I do think it's helpful. It's premium. I mean, I don't know. It's probably not a wildly satisfying answer, but there you go. So here I'm going to be up a small quantity of pawns, which should put black in bad shape. So here I have a lot of extra pawns. Queen e3, let's just keep on taking pawns because, yeah, I don't see why not. With my 2 books, Small Steps 1 and Small Steps 2, what rating is it aimed at approximately? I originally aimed it at like people up to maybe 2,000 and not really for people higher than that. But I was actually very pleasantly surprised when significantly stronger players, even like grandmasters, were telling me that they saw the book and they really enjoyed it. So I thought it was sort of an intermediate level book, but I was actually very happy that even stronger players liked it as well. All right, so let's see who wants to play now. Let's play with Caltrain. I've taken that a couple times, but Caltrain is a bit south of where I am. That's below Bard, I think. So when Bard I've taken frequently. Wing Gambit. Good grief, people. All right, so let's see if I can remember how to play this. I think I gave knight f6 in the course, which I thought was kind of clever. And after e5, knight d5, cb4, and d6. Okay, so that just feels complacent because I think the whole point of the wing gambit is to like distract my c5 pawn so you can take a bigger share of the center. But if you're playing d3 instead of d4, you're totally going to fail on that goal. So I just, without white playing d4, I don't think it's wildly makes any sense. All right. So bishop g5, let's go e6. Yeah, so people are saying they like the d4 overture. Yeah, I mean, I like this stuff too. I've been playing it in like all of my online events. I have Prague Masters starting in a few days. Actually, I'm in the hotel in Prague right now. I just got here like an hour ago. I don't know if I'm going to be playing this stuff in classical chess when my opponents can really be like preparing for me, but I think it's certainly good enough to. It's just there's other good openings, and if you have published your own analysis, it might be better to play lines where you haven't published your analysis. But I was very very happy with that. As to whether the videos have subtitles, I have no idea. Or I don't think they do, but that's not my department. I do the chess analysis and other people do the technical stuff. Yeah, Prague is actually one of my favorite cities in Europe. It's been my go-to place several times, like just when there's no tournaments. Like, for example, I remember after Olympiad in 2018, I had like 10 days off between Olympiad in Georgia. It was Tbilisi. No, it's not Tbilisi, it was Batumi. But I had 10 days off between that and playing a match with Svidler in the Netherlands, and I just went to Prague because that's my go-to place. I really like it here. All right, so any future chessable courses you might like to do? I have absolutely no idea. I don't know. It depends on what they ask me for, but I haven't heard anything from that yet. I've already published like a full repertoire, so I don't need to. I don't know what it would be. I'm certainly open to doing more work, but I certainly will not be able to put in the same kind of schedule that I was when there was a pandemic. I mean, now tournaments are really coming up in short order, and I've got Prague Masters and then World Cup, and then not that long after World Cup, US Championship, and potentially FIDE Grand Swiss. There's just so many events like coming up all of a sudden. European Club Cup. There's all sorts of tournaments that I'm really looking forward to playing. And Chessable, I mean, you can always do work on it without it being your main thing. I mean, it never really was my main thing, so to speak, but like, there's no way I can like crank out courses with the kind of speed that I was doing when I actually have tournaments to play. Been to Karlovy Vary. I don't know where that is. I know my favorite neighborhood in Prague is Karlin, and that's where always the place I've stayed when I've been there. I've always liked it there. We want Sam's Roy Lopez. Is that from the white side or the black side? Because trust me, with white against e4, e5, I always get good positions and I always lose. I'm not the right person to teach you that. I can play Roy from the black side just fine, but all right, yeah. So let's start pushing this pawn. And yeah, black's definitely winning here. Probably haven't been talking enough about chess this game because people have had other questions that were interesting, but yeah, all right, keep on pushing, and this game is over. So I suspect I'm playing another NorCal person because the Caltrain is our public transit system below BART for like south of San Francisco, which I don't think I've ever actually used Caltrain. I've never had an occasion to, but I've used BART a lot, which is connected to Caltrain. So now at this point, I'm starting to think maybe this guy is playing a little bit too long, but that is his right. Start taking all the pieces. All right. Fine. Let's just go bishop h3. People flock to Karlovy Vary for the magical water, which is supposed to cure many ills. I'm too old to believe in magical water, unfortunately. Yeah. All right. So here, let's take this rook and then reverse, go rook c2. At this point, I'm starting to think this guy really is playing too long, but all right. Put this rook to the second rank. Sam, I just want to thank you so much. I learned a lot from your course. I went from 2150 to 2350 in a few weeks. Thank you. Well, I really appreciate that. One of the big reasons I write these courses is because I want to help people become better chess players. I like the idea that if people work hard on chess, they will get better and they will surpass people who don't. And if you've been working hard on these courses and improving, I'm very happy to hear that. Very appreciative that you liked that. Czech makes the better duck than Beijing duck. That's pushing it. I really like Peking duck, so I'll have to try that at some point. But yeah. All right, this game is starting to. Come on, Caltrain. Okay. There we go. I've spent enough time waiting for the Caltrain recently, I guess. All right, so next up, let's go with Orest Vovk. I think he beat me once, so I need some revenge. We'll see if he can cause me. Oh no, is this the guy who plays the weird like G4 stuff? Yeah, oh, never mind. That guy. All right, fine. Forgot about that. Okay. Let's just. I just need to not get flagged, so I'm just going to develop slowly. And not do anything too rash. Let's go here. And bishop f5. I'm just totally freestyling here, of course. Probably what I'm doing makes no sense. But I sort of like this pawn structure with e takes f5. He could try f3 here and try to win a piece. It strikes me as risky, but like for example, now even if I go e5, like structurally, obviously this is horrible for me, but I think he's made enough weaknesses in his position that maybe I can justify it. Congrats, Flintsbatcher. That must have been nice to see these amazing German chess players play. Okay, so this guy is blowing up the position, which I think is probably ill-advised. Because now I mean, the only bad thing about my position was my structure. Everything else was fantastic. So I sort of think this shouldn't work that well for white, but we'll see. Should be 4. All right, let's take with the queen, I guess. Being Captain America, what do I think of Avengers? I've never seen these superhero movies, or at least if I did, I don't remember them. It's not really my genre. I'm more of a South Park raunchy comedy obnoxious type. All right, so here obviously he has some compensation because his knight's getting a little bit annoying, but I don't think it should be enough. And my king is much safer than it would otherwise be because of the absence of queens, and now my pieces are activating and d3 will come at some point, and I think I should have a nice advantage here. I have not watched the British comedy Peep Show. I don't know what that is. So let's go, I guess, rook e8, get ready to give a discovery, and I don't yet know if I want my knight on g6 or d5. It depends where he puts the bishop. All right, so he goes back there. I think, let's start with h4. I don't want to lose this pawn. And now d3 could come next. Yeah, so let's go knight g6, and then, yeah, I don't think I've played this game amazingly, but it's fine. All right, bring the bishop to g3, looks like a nice square. And yeah, guys, I'm sorry, I like offensive comedy, but I just think it's really funny, so, yeah. Okay, bishop b4, sure. Let's go knight e5, stopping bishop d7. He should play bishop h5, and then I will go b6 and try to, oh, well, he doesn't even want that. No, this I don't think should work. Let me go b6. And then I will take on g4, and like rook e4 probably is better than rook e2, but they both look very tempting. And then I'll take this one. And she has to get out of discovered checks. Wait, hang on. So if I go bishop e5, he goes king h3, and that's kind of annoying. Let's just stick my king on g6 as a matter of best principle. Making sure not to hang anything is the plan. So let's go rook c4, attack a pawn. Rook d1, sure. Go king g6. I don't want my king to get harassed. Probably could have taken the pawn. All right, now I can take this one. And now he's made it on h2. All right, so this whole h3, g4 thing, thankfully I managed to punish this time, even if the opening wasn't that amazing. All right, let's go with Maximo Tal. I don't think I've played you before, so accept. Oh no, guys, I don't watch any chess streamers. It's a completely different world that I have absolutely no interest in. And there's nothing wrong with it at all. Like, if people enjoy that, I don't mean to berate them in any way, or I certainly don't want to sound disrespectful in any way. It's just they do their world and I do mine, and that's totally fine. And yes, I think Jakob's GM prep is fantastic. In fact, actually, I don't even know why I just played the Catalan. In fact, that was the series that convinced me to hire him as my main coach. So, yeah. Okay. I don't feel great about that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go knight bd2 and knight b1 and see if we can make a fairer game out of it. All right. So now we're gonna have a more fair game. Obviously, knight d2, knight b1 wasn't great, but I don't like to win because the guy just mouse slipped. So now I'm going to play real chess again. After burning 2 tempi, I think I've sort of let him get roughly the same kind of position he would have gotten if he had just castled. So yeah. So here I think I can take this one and change the pawn structure. My bishop on b2 isn't brilliant now, but it's like this structure just strikes me as so dangerous for black that I don't think I care. Additionally, his queen on c7 is misplaced because when c5 comes, he'll not be able to play cd4. And I also think the best route for this knight is to go to e8 and c7. Yeah, here's rook f1. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't like winning by mouse slip. It feels... I know it's not like you're doing anything wrong. It just somehow feels dirty to me. All right, so let's take on g5. If hg, my thought was I can take this one. And once I have taken that pawn, it means that at some point violence could come like pretty soon. So for example, here, if I take on b7 and go d5, queen d5, e6 check, I feel like that should be checkmate, but it's not that easy. Let's start with take. And now d5, queen d5, e6, knight f6, rook h2 is a threat. I'm going to be boring and play queen e4, which certainly wins. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, so I don't feel too bad, but maybe I'm sure I could have blown up the position there somehow, but this just feels like such a clean way to finish the game that, like, at this point he cannot stop e6, so it's not, if he could bring knight f8 to e6 in time, then he would have some defensive chances, but as is with e6 coming, there's just no way. So e6 comes, and I guess I'll take f7. If king f7, there's knight g5, or bishop f6, knight d6, and I think black's whole position is going to collapse. So rook a d8 is probably the best try, but let's just go rook a d1, and you can still barely move. Yeah, guys, on internet chess, like, when you say you don't expect chivalry in internet chess, I think there's 2 categories of people. People who care about their ratings online and people who don't. And so I'm not going to give anybody any gifts in like a serious game. If you hand mouse slip and like accidentally place your piece on a square you didn't mean to because somehow your brain farted in some way, like, rest assured I'm not going to forgive you. But like for internet games, like, I cannot begin to express how little or how much I don't care about my online rating. So I'd rather just, like, it's almost like I want to enjoy the time I have in this world, and I don't enjoy, like, I enjoy playing chess, and I don't enjoy, like, if a game just ends randomly because it shouldn't. I would rather just give a take back, but I can see that I would certainly be a brutalist and flag people and I would flag people and like take their mouse slips if I cared about internet rating, but I don't. So that's okay. Yeah, so here we're making a new queen. Okay, no, still make a new queen. Cannot stop me. All right, so good game, Maximo Tal. Let's see who else wants to play. Let's play with Mike Goring 37. Okay, Mike Goring, show me what you got. We got a German in the house. All right, so let's see if I can remember my repertoire properly this time and not play the stupid g3 move. Yeah, so here I get cd5. Yeah, I like that George Washington quote from Always Play Bishop f1. It's one that people should live their lives by. All right, so c6 just doesn't make sense in this structure. Like, the bishop on b4 for black is totally misplaced for a strategic setup. The only way black can justify playing like this would be to like get some very direct counterplay, and here c6 is not the way you do that. And now already queen b3 is coming. Like, this is exactly why that bishop is misplaced on b4. Like, if his bishop were on e7 here and he could go queen b6, black would be totally fine. But now his position is awkward. If queen b6, I can take on f6 if I'm so inclined. Yeah, so he gives me the bishop pair. And here I just think black is worse. Like, his structure is worse. I have the bishop pair. You need to, if you want to play the Rogozin, you need to be doing one of two things. You need to be immediately taking the bishop f5 diagonal before white can take it from you and without letting anything bad happen. And here, something bad did happen, like now his structure will get butchered. Or you need to get like c5 in with very direct counterplay, and here neither of those things happened. And now like he's just open king, c4 is coming, and I think white is clearly better. What do I like the most apart from playing chess? I'm a very physical person. I love hiking and playing sports and going to the gym. I'm a very physical creature. And I like very good food as well, which also is to some degree physical. It's what you're putting in your body. I like being healthy. And I like stupid comedies with South Park and stuff like that. In the Rogozin where black plays queen d6, if I recall, in the course I gave knight d2, which I think is a pretty good move. Going to the gym fits your caveman beard. That beard's coming off tomorrow morning, so... But no, I take my physical health very seriously. If there's one good thing that happened from the pandemic, it's that I got to stay home for a year, and that means that my level of fitness is just not as high when I have to travel a lot, which is normal, I think, for everybody, but I got really strong again, which I'm very happy about. All right, so take, and here white is winning. Check and grab this rook, seems pretty convincing. Let's get rook to c5 and take the c file and invade there. Seems like a good way to end the game. That beard is really good. Yeah, maybe I'll take some before-after pictures, and I don't know. I just feel like when I have this beard, I look old, and I already feel old enough when I play in tournaments, and I'm like in the older half of the field, despite being an ancient old man at 29. All right, who else wants to play? All right, Jup, we always play with you. Jugamos. All right, so d4. Jup is pretty good. He's beaten me before. So yeah, I recommended knight c3 and e3, a6, knight f3. So yeah, I gave queen b3 here. Says Neil Armstrong on working out. We only get so many heartbeats in life. I'm not wasting them at the gym. You might get more heartbeats if you go to the gym though. Yeah, so bishop e6 I don't remember, but I'm just going to take on d5. This is probably dumb, but I want to make him decide right now how he wants to take back. Probably should take with the knight. Okay, so he takes with the bishop, and so now I'm just going to get a healthy bishop pair, which is not the end of the world for black here. I mean, it's not like my position is that amazing, but I do think I should be slightly better. So here, let's not blunder any tricks, and just go bishop d2 and rook c1, and it should be pretty reasonable. What study breakdown, opening, middle game, endgame would you recommend for 2200 players pushing for IM title? I hate to give one-size-fits-all study plans because I believe that in order to be a great chess player, you need to be good at everything. So if I were to make an analogy that I've given plenty of times before in the past, if you're very fast, if you can run very fast, you have very good stamina, you control the ball very well with your feet, you can shoot very well, you pass very well, but you totally suck at stopping the ball with your hands, I have a very simple solution. Don't be a goalkeeper and you'll be a great soccer player. But in chess, if you're like extremely well prepared, you have good knowledge of technical endgames, good tactical vision, good feel for the initiative, whatever, but you cannot calculate to save your life, that's a massive problem. Or if you have no openings and you're good at everything else, that's also a massive problem. You have to play every position that comes in front of you, regardless of your general strengths and weaknesses overall. You can't ever just pass the position off to a teammate. So as a result, I think that you need to be very well rounded to be a good chess player, and if that's the case, uh, you need to be looking at your weaknesses first. So when you say, should I be studying openings more? Well, if openings are your weakness, that's what you need to study more. And everyone will have different weaknesses. You say, a 2100 player, I can promise you, or a 2200 player maybe, I can promise you you're not 2200 at everything. There's going to be places that you're already 2400 strength. There's going to be places where you're still lagging at like 2000 strength, and the absolute aggregate of all those together might bring you to an average of something like 2200. But you're going to have strengths and weaknesses, and everybody is going to have different strengths and weaknesses. And I think getting better is eliminating your weaknesses, basically. So if I were to tell you, oh, study the opening this proportion of the time, when you have no opening preparation whatsoever, I'm probably going to be understating the case. Well, if you're a theory monk, you'll be overstating it. So I don't really think I can give you a one size fits all. How much time should I spend on what thing? All right, so here, I don't know, this game is your typical D4 player's nightmare where you're always slightly better the whole game and you're probably still not going to win because it's sort of drawish in its nature. I've been slightly better this whole game with the bishop pair, but he's been defending well, and as a result, I expect he'll probably save it. But who knows? I can still keep expanding and hoping for the best. Theory monkey? What's wrong with being a theory monkey? There's some theory. I know people used to like. There was a chess player at my old chess club a long time ago. I forget his name actually, but he was like really well prepared, and not really a brilliant chess player beyond that. And people at some point were like, "Oh, he's just a total theory monkey." I'm like, "Yeah, okay, he's a theory monkey with a big rating. Like, that's opening is part of the game. It's important." Yeah, so I've played a lot of Banter Blitz here to Fritz Bacher. I've certainly lost a lot of games. I think most of the games I've lost have been because somebody flagged me, which again is just something I really don't particularly care about. But I've definitely lost my fair share of like real games too. So yeah, so here I'm just sort of trying to probe for weaknesses on both sides of the board. It's going to be a grind to win a position like this one. But it can be really unpleasant to defend like a position like this. At some point I had a structure like this, sort of exchange Slav structure with the bishop pair against Jordan van Foreest, and like he has defended really well, and at some point just dropped a piece. Like it's really unpleasant. Like for example here, this guy Jup now has finally like just been sick of waiting around, and he's changed the pawn structure in a way that I don't think favors him. It's hard to just sit in a passive position that's a little bit unpleasant long term forever without getting frustrated. So like here, I almost just hung my face. I was about to play bishop b5, but then queen b5 is check, so I can't do that. Let's just bring the king back, so maybe bishop b5 becomes an idea. But yeah, now his d5 pawn is the weakness. And yeah, so Jordan defended quite well, and then next thing he knew, he was a piece down. So it's not that easy to just defend some like slightly unpleasant position like this, even if objectively it has to be not so bad. Bishop d8. Let's kick this queen away. And then he probably has to go to e6. Then I can go like queen c3 maybe. Yeah, so let's go queen c3, f6, sure. He's still pretty solid. Alright, now that the queen's gone, I can reroute the bishop to f3. Nah, he'll go knight c6. Let's just invade to a7. That seems like a decent idea. Maybe not though. I'm gonna start with f3 and keep his queen out. It's very hard for black to move here. Yeah, that was Olympiad in whatever year it was, 2018. Oh, I just dropped the a5 pawn. Knucklehead I am. Now black's definitely fine. Alright. But let's see. I think I should be... I mean, I don't think he's... I don't want to say I should save this position because I don't actually think I'm even worse. I think I'm totally fine. Let's go h4. And here. Will there be an Olympiad in 2021? I mean, you know as much as I do, so. Yeah, I think despite the pawn loss, if anybody's playing for a win here, it's me, but I also don't think it should be successful. All right, let's eventually get this move h5 in. You probably should take it. No, I didn't. Okay. Back. He can play d4 and just force opposite bishops is probably pretty sensible. At some point, he may regret letting me get pawns like this. Alright, so now the bishop is coming. Yeah, so knight c4, the bishop is good on d4, and bishop e8 is on the way. So this is how you lose a position like this. You have to be careful. Do I have a favorite game of my own? If I had to pick one best game of mine, it might be my win over Vidit from Prague 2019. It was like my one good game in the entire year, so don't know. Have I found it difficult to adjust to over the board chess? We'll see. My first tournament starts in a few days. I've been trying to train like over the board level, but it's hard to do in this era, of course. But yeah, I guess we just have to see. All right, so bishop c5. Let's take this pawn here. And I think this should be winning. The h7 pawn is too weak. Like now, I don't think I can take that knight and go bishop g8. Let me think. Take bishop g8, king f8, take h7. Actually, I can. I think I can. I'm going to do this. So take, I get bishop g8. I take this pawn, and he can trap my bishop, but he can't actually take it. So I'm going to get king f3 in, and then I will play e4, and then I will get king g4, and then I will get f5. And then my pawns should be good enough. Actually, no, they're not good enough. I got the wrong pawns, but luckily he's messed it up, so it's okay. Do I recommend studying master games? Yeah, but like you should get them from like a book or something where somebody has written about them. It's pretty good. All right, so good game, Jup. I'm lying, that was not a good game. We both played terribly, but well, what can you do? Let's play with Joy Shaw. I know he's played with me a few times, and he's always gotten black in the King's Indian mainly. So now I guess we'll give him a chance to play white and see if he can bust my preparation in the chessable course. Okay, g3 I'm not very scared by. Let's do this. And then my big point in this line was to delay knight bd7, but he's played in a way where knight bd7 is going to be fine. So yeah, here the one thing I would caution about a line like this one is you don't want to get too ambitious. It's very easy to think, oh, g3 just looks dumb, like I should try to punish him and be playing for an advantage with black already, but I think that's exactly the wrong thing to do. White has not done anything criminal enough to be worse yet. Yeah. How many openings are in the black for in the d4 repertoire? I mean, in theory, it's supposed to cover an entire repertoire, and like everything that black can possibly play is covered. Now, I don't know. I'm not going to claim I'm perfect. Nobody is, and I probably missed something somewhere. But in theory, it's supposed to cover everything. I think I've done a pretty good job of that. Everybody I know who's bought the course and has been like playing it. I mean, I don't want to name these people because they're like, I don't want to say what they're studying and help their opponents prepare, but like I know a lot of people who have just like been playing this repertoire like every single game and scoring a lot of points. So here, this whole thing just seems, at some point d5 could come, but it's just going to equalize. It's not going to be more than that. But yeah, I was happy with that work. So here, where do I get my positions for calculation exercise these days? From Jacob. I mean, he's my coach, and he gives me all the positions, which is how I get the material to train. All right, so here, let's take this one and just let's go rook c8 is fine. It's a pretty dry position at this point, but it's also a safe one for me, so I'm not too concerned. Who do I think is going to win the Euros? I don't know, Mesut Ozil. If you're not playing, it's not going to be Germany. But I don't know. I'm not. I love soccer, but I haven't been following it closely as of late, so I really don't know. I think France would be a safe bet, but I mean, I'm really no great. What do you call it? What's that word I'm thinking of? Pundit. I'm not a great pundit. So take, and then, do I prefer dry or wild positions? In general, I prefer complicated chess if I can get it, but I try to play correct chess. So if I play the way I believe a position calls to be played. If I think that I should be attacking, I'm going to attack, and if I think I should be playing like more nitty gritty, I'm going to be playing more quietly. And I don't really try to like. I just try to play objective chess, I guess. I try to be well-rounded. So yeah, here this is definitely just equal, but so from all the openings I learned in the course, I still cannot manage the Benoni. Yeah, the Benoni is a very tough one because it's pretty easy to get a good position, but there's always annoying counterplay, like 100% of the time. So it takes some effort to contain, and I think containing counterplay is one of the hardest skills in chess in general. When you have a position you know is objectively good, but your opponent has practical chances, it's very hard to keep these positions under control. Yeah, so here I've just been trying to squeeze blood from a stone. There's no question black is absolutely fine, but well, let's just keep playing and see if I can make any trouble for him, but this should just be equal. Okay, this should just be a draw in short order. Take, and then bishop f7, and am I even trying to lose with knight f5? I don't think I'll manage, but I am trying. Yeah, let's just come back here, I guess. Check, or maybe knight d5 is better. No, let's go knight d5. Alright, so this game never really got off the ground. Let me find the draw button. This game never really got off the ground. There was just nothing that happened, which can be frustrating, but sometimes when you're black, it's annoying. So let's see who else wants to play. Genius 14, let's play with you. Of all the Julius Baer players, who do you think will be the strongest? It's just such a. I don't think this is a great question. It will come down so much more to the decisions these kids make. And they're such different people now than they will be in 10 years. And you never know how much of where they are now is because of decisions they've made and decisions their parents have made on their behalf. In general, I think it's really not helpful to predict where 15-year-olds or 14-year-olds will end up. It has so little to do with their ability and talent and so much to do with their choices, and they're going to be fundamentally different people when they have to make these choices on their own. All right, let's play with Beer Baron. If he's got Homer Simpson, I'll get it. If you have a Homer Simpson one, that's like in third place, even behind South Park first and Family Guy second. But if you have funny cartoon guys, maybe I will play with you. Do you believe Grunfeld still has a good reputation? Yeah, I mean it's a very good opening. All right, so he played a weird move order. I probably could have tried to punish him with like e5 or something, but it's okay. I'm just going to play with my normal classical Sicilian. Knight c6 is not a very scary move. Yeah, so here I think you're supposed to be a little careful. In general, I like to play g6, but here this would allow e5. So I'm just gonna go bishop e7. And then yeah, let's play d5. I'll take the whole center. Why not? And here, yeah, okay. So bishop b3 is a mistake. Now this is going to be a bad bishop. And so let's. Yeah, so I'm just bringing my pieces out. And this bishop on b3 is just incredibly passive and doesn't have much of a future. All right, so queen d2 is a bit of a provocative move. It's sort of begging for some kind of d4 knight e4. I'm not sure if I can give it to him yet, though. see actually maybe not quite. Let's just go h6. I don't believe he can sacrifice, and I'll. Okay, if he gives me that bishop, then positions he's basically lost. I think. If he had taken h6, I could have taken it and gone knight h7 and bishop g5. Thoughts on 1b3 as a main opening? It's not great. It's just sort of the wrong attitude in general. There's no doubt white's not worse. It's totally playable. You can see very strong players playing it, understanding they're not going to be better and winning anyway. Audubon's course on it, I'm sure, I haven't looked at it yet, but I'm sure it's very good. But it's just like, I think b3's, it can be a very effective surprise weapon. It definitely has a lot of things going for it. And if I were to say never play it, I think that's probably not the right attitude either. But if you want to play it as your main opening, the problem is at some point you get good enough that people can prepare for you. They will see your games in database. And if somebody knows b3 is coming, then you're never going to get anywhere. You really should be mainly using it as a surprise weapon. And at some point you're going to have to shift and play a new opening. And I think the way you really shoot yourself in the foot when you play sidelines is that I've commonly heard this rationale. I play this opening. I know it's not great, but I'm not yet good enough that it matters. I think that I can play it against my current level of opposition and get away with it every time and no problem whatsoever. And someday my opposition will get stronger and I'll fix it then. And that's okay. A lot of people have given me this rationale, and I think the real big spot where that rationale fails is that then when you have to transition, you're going to have to play your first games in a new opening like a real one without any experience in it. I think when you're not as strong and playing against guys against whom you can get away with like sort of silly openings, that's a perfect time to like play main lines, understanding that even if you get out prepared, it doesn't matter that much. You'll still get a game. And use that to learn and become a better chess player is the hope. And so I just think it's the wrong attitude in general. But that's just my opinion. Plenty of people like b3 a lot. But I would also caution you against thinking it's so toothless that you don't have to study it from the other side of the board. I think that it's very important for you to be ready to face b3 with black. Like the last thing you want is for somebody to play like a non-critical opening like b3, and you're like, oh, well, this is not a good opening, so I don't care, and then you just get a bad position as a result. That's not good either. You want to make sure that you're ready for it, and you have to take it seriously. Yeah. So here in other news, I think white has a very nice Benoni-style position here. This bishop on e7 is totally misplaced. It's supposed to be on g7, and additionally, that would make knight f5 harder to pull off. So now I'm going to get the knight to f5, and I'm debating whether after bishop f8, if he had played bishop f8, I was debating between taking d5 and playing bishop g5. So here, Ruben says, wasn't queen b1 instead of castles in this line of the quid? That might be right. I'm not sure off the top of my head. It sounds right, but I can't remember everything. Have I ever played Vichy? Yeah, I played him once. I got a nice position, but he defended well, and it was a draw. All right, let's go a4. And this just feels like a horrible Benoni for black. But it's not going to be that easy to just crush him or anything. Still sort of solid. Let's, how do I want to build up the position? I don't really want to play f4 because then he'll be able to, let's go rook c1 as prophylaxis against c4. If f4, he could have played g6 without knight h6. So here, though, I don't really want knight h6, though. Let's just bring the knight back to e3. Yeah, the Vichy game is in the model game section. I was a little disappointed I couldn't put him under more pressure, especially, that was just such a frustrating tournament, like Anze. It was my first, real super tournament with, multiple world champions in the mix. And I was completely winning against Report. I missed a win against Mamedyarov at the end of round 1, and I drew the game. Then I was completely winning against Report. I had him just dead to rights in round 2, and didn't win that game either. This one was a draw. And then I resigned a drawn position against Anish. It only really took form at the end when I beat Nepomniachtchi and Kramnik in the last 2 rounds So it was a frustrating tournament. I finished on 50% and like a whatever performance rating, maybe like 2770 or whatever the average rating of the tournament was. But it felt like I could have made like +3 or +4 if things had broken out differently. And if I look back at what went wrong in 2019 for me, where I lost all my rating and my life fell apart, that was sort of the start of it. But thankfully that's behind us. I'm gonna go kill everybody in Prague, so all good. All right. So here, let's. He wants b5, but I'm not sure how scared I am of it. I guess I have to overprotect e4. If he plays, he should play b5, but I'll take it and go knight a5, and the knight's pretty good there. Knight c6 could come. In the semi-Slav, what do you consider to be the best route on move 5, e3 or bishop g5? Once upon a time, I would have said bishop g5, but now I think probably e3 is more challenging, and that's what I gave in my course. Bishop g5 is just, there's just so many forcing lines, and the more forcing lines there are in an opening, like the more computers can just kill it and like force draws. And so I think that you get more of a game by playing e3. And yeah, the tournament in Prague is being played at the Don Giovanni Hotel where I'm currently staying. So here, I think I can get away with e5, so I'm just going to do it. Maybe I'm going to get killed as a result, but we'll give it a try. Would I recommend the King's Indian defense against d4 for the long run? In general, I don't really believe in long run openings, and I don't really believe in playing the same opening game after game after game either. I think the way you become a good chess player is by developing a diverse understanding of different kinds of positions, and I don't really think you get that if you just play one opening all the time. Yeah, so here I've been very careless, but he's still under a lot of pressure. I just don't think you get that same level of understanding if you play the same opening over and over and over again. You know, if you play e4 every game of your life and you play the King's Indian with black, you can become a fantastic dynamic chess player, but you'll really be lacking strategically. And if you constantly play endless French and Queen's Gambit declined, you'll be a great strategic player, and you're never gonna be great at tactics. You need to be able to play both kinds of positions. So let's play with Titan Revis. Are you intending to play the courses frequently, or are you sick of them after all these banter blitzes? So I've decided that for classical chess, and I'm totally happy to just let my opponents know this, I am gonna play my courses like maybe something like 10 to 20% of the time. So that will force them to go spend their money and give me my 20 euros when they play with me, and they will tax their preparation time that they have to look at this stuff because they know it might happen. But most of the time it won't. So I think that's actually a much better strategy than saying, oh, I'm never going to play this stuff. You should just play it sometimes and not often. Because if you play it every game, people are going to know what's up and they're going to start preparing for you, and they'll have your entire repertoire right in front of them, and they can poke for holes. And if you never play it, they never have to worry about it, and they never have to tax their preparation time. But if you play it just a little bit, most of the time you're just going to force them to like spend time analyzing stuff that might not show up on the board. Yeah, so here I'm playing this this line of the semi-Slav with bishop e2, which I thought was kind of clever. And I think I sort of managed to make work. So he's played this move queen e7, which doesn't strike me as brilliant. I'm going to start with rook e1, and I'm ready for bishop d3 next. And here already, I think the position is very dangerous for black. So let's go e4. And the big problem for him is the typical way you would meet this is to take this, like he just did, and then either f5 and c5. Now, clearly f5 was impossible, but if he plays c5 now, d5 will come. And that's because he put his queen on the e7 square where it is misplaced. But if black doesn't play c5, it's very hard for him to break out of this position in a sensible way. I guess he can try bishop a3 here, but it feels less than brilliant. Okay, so let's go queen d3, and already like d5 is not messing around. What's that painting in the background? I don't know. It's the hotel room, so it's just, it looks like it's people dancing, but A lot of people are saying they like my new look. It's just I've been training intensively and not been too lazy to shave. But I'm shaving tomorrow morning, as I've said, so I'm gonna get it all off pretty soon. Yeah. So here, this feels like it should just lose. If I go Queen C3, I think that's the end of that. Maybe you can play King G7, but then you're like practically stalemated, and I go G4, and that should be over. Yeah. So here, I think this is a pretty convincing display of how these positions can go wrong for Black. So let's go H4. And this is not going to hold together. Black is very much busted here. So to Skylar, if I like the Catalan systems and positional games as white, is there a particular Sicilian variation you would recommend as black? I definitely think the classical Sicilian, which is part of my course, is probably the most reasonably sound strategic option black has. I mean, like the Khan with E6, A6, I'm sure is strategic too. But I would definitely step away from like the Najdorf or Sveshnikov or Dragon, which are much more forcing in their nature. Yeah, so here I probably even had rook e6, but if I don't have it last move, I'm going to have it this move. Yeah, so rook e6, and this is very much over. Yeah, so black got sort of crushed there. This position can get very dangerous for him. I think queen e7 was like one sort of innocent looking mistake, and next thing you know, it's really bad. All right, let's play with Tyrion Lannister. So from Norway, good luck to you, Tyrion Lannister. It's my WhatsApp. Have I messed up the stream? No, it's something else. Okay. All right, let's see if this guy can bust my preparation. Exchange Slav, come on. It's not such a bad opening, but oh, this line is not great. So I'm trying to remember what the big point was here. I think the point I gave was queen b6. Which is yeah, so here now there's not much white couldn't get e4 comfortably, and then the position is not great. Yeah, I don't know. So the classical Sicilian course, people complained about it not having good coverage. I don't know where that came from. There were like two missing variations, both of which I updated, neither of which I thought were like critical lines either. And I thought that it was just like a pretty solid repertoire. I don't know what people were upset with, but I thought like it's been good enough for me to play in like the Champions Tour against like and like win against like Dominguez and Nakamura. So it, I mean, I've been putting my money where my mouth is for sure. So they were complaining about the lines not going that deep. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, but at some point it's like if I give knight c6, and let's say bishop e2, g6, castles, bishop g7, bishop e3, castle, and I don't know, queen d2 or whatever. Like basically, when you get to a position like that where white has tried 15 different moves, none of which put any pressure on black whatsoever, I don't think it's worth your time to memorize any of these lines. That just doesn't help you. While like in actual lines where white's fighting for an edge or where there's something important or where there's a relatively narrow path that you have to go down, I definitely like give very concrete and very detailed analysis in all those. It's just in positions where I felt like, okay, you put your pieces on these squares and you're fine against no matter what, I just don't think it's worth memorizing concrete theory there. But I made sure to cover like in a lot of detail all the lines that I thought were like genuinely critical, and in general I think I do a pretty good job of judging where you're supposed to where you really need to just memorize stuff and where you can get away with general knowledge of where the pieces should go. But yeah, we'll see. At the end of the day, nobody ever is perfect, and nobody will ever make a perfect repertoire or anything like that. All right, so Tyrion Lannister is playing pretty aggressively and actually pretty well, it looks like. So let's, yeah, this is pretty good. All right, I'm gonna go bishop e6. Queen e1 was a good move, and now I have to be a little bit careful. The Ghost of Dr. Drunkenstein. I like that account name. That's very funny. I like that account name. People seem to think I have no sense of humor. Maybe it's just because they see me when I'm teaching, and then I just try to be as serious as possible because people are paying me to teach them about chess, and I don't want to distract from learning time. But I'm a total goofball, contrary to popular belief. All right, let's just put pieces on good squares. That can only be so wrong. Knight h5, very aggressive, and I don't think this is a great move. After knight takes h5 and g6. No, the knight on f4 was his best piece, and my knight on f6 was my worst piece, and that means that I should be very happy with this position. So let's go queen b4. I'm a little worried about my king's safety, so getting the queens off seems like a good idea. Plus, it'll open the c file and put some pressure on him that way. I don't think he can get away with f4. Bishop c3, take, rook b1. Wait, okay. I mean, this is going to be a little bit sketchy, but I don't believe it for white, so I'm not going to give him the benefit of the doubt. After queen takes c3. Yeah, that's one of the big appeals of the classical Sicilian, is I think the Richter-Rauser is really the only challenging variation, and I think it says a lot about a line that there's only one good way you can play against it. Yeah. My English is so good. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. It's one of the nice privileges of being born in California is you tend to speak pretty good English. To Contiello, in general, if you hinder, for me, like, I get a lot worse if I'm in any way inebriated, if I've had like a single drink or if I've slept poorly or anything. I think I'm not a brilliant chess player, honestly. But I think I'm very good at bringing my best. I very rarely just show up to a game tired or something. Yeah. All right, let's abort this one because this guy didn't show up. Beth Hamon. Let's see, any funny pictures or anything? Oh, Bogues is here. I should always play with him. But yeah, if I fall off of my peak strength like very, very, very quickly if I'm like tired or off form in any way. All right, so we'll continue playing the repertoire and see if Bogues can challenge me or if we're going to get more exchange Slavs. All right, so here. All right, so Bogues is playing e3, very sensible, and I'll see if I can play a decent semi-Slav. So, to the cultural kid, or the cultural kid, I think the big reason that I prefer d4 to e4 is I think it's a little bit more narrow in terms of how dynamic and interesting the positions can become. I think there's no doubt the most dynamic and interesting positions in chess come in e4. I don't think there's any question about that. There's the dragon and the Najdorf and stuff. But I also think the most boring positions come in e4. And that's the Petrov and the Berlin and all of this brilliant kind of things that you'll constantly see and become the bane of your existence. And basically, I think d4 is a bit more consistent in that its range is smaller. The most boring d4 lines are less boring than the most boring e4 lines. And the sharpest e4 lines, or the sharpest d4 lines, are less sharp than the sharpest e4 lines. And I like that consistency. In general, I think that you really should be playing both moves. And while I tend to prefer d4, I certainly play e4. It's not like it never happens. I think you should be playing both moves and giving yourself a diverse understanding of chess by playing different kinds of positions. But that's sort of how I feel about it. So to Contiello, have I ever played against people making strange sounds at the board? Yeah, but funnily enough, it doesn't happen with me very much because I absolutely do not care. It doesn't bother me when people do that. Like if they want to make silly noises, it doesn't distract me in the slightest. And there's people who have a reputation for sort of playing like that they like to distract their opponents or whatever, or play dirty, so to speak. And they just find it doesn't work against me, so they just don't waste their time or even bother trying. So in general, as a result, most of the time it just doesn't happen to me. So in other news, I need to close this WhatsApp because it's taking making a lot of noises. So let me go back here. Okay, so a4, Let's go c4 and then rook b8. Seems like the pretty sensible way to follow up. And at some point, I just think this bishop on h4 is misplaced. When you go bishop g5, like you're sort of hoping to attack or pin this knight or use the d5 square in some way, and that's just not going to happen here. So can I get away with b4? I don't think so. The c4 pawn will probably drop after knight b1, so let's just go rook b8. But I think once I start going like knight c5 or something, this position can get very unpleasant for white very fast. This bishop on h4 is not particularly good, and knight c5, and I think my queenside pawn mass is really nice. Do you even believe in playing diverse lines as black as well? Yes, absolutely. I think that anybody who's never played the Queen's Gambit as black or the Slav is really like lacking in their understanding of strategic solid play. I think anyone who's never played the Grunfeld as black is probably lacking in their knowledge of dynamic play. I think you need to be playing these positions with both colors, and I think you need to be playing a wide range of different kinds of ornaments. So, do I think players below the top 50 should be given a chance to compete in top tournaments? Yeah, of course. I mean, obviously, there's a lot more of them than there are guys at the absolute top. But then there's guys like me who are sort of in between, who are better than that, but also not like among the top 10 or 15 who get all the invitations. I think it's fantastic that at the current Grand Chess Tour that the two Romanian guys got wild cards. I think that there's absolutely nothing wrong with local organizers wanting to give their own best players a chance to prove themselves, and I think it's shown that neither of them are winless. They've both played very inspired chess, and in general, I think when you have a somewhat less even rating distribution, it's where some people are like a little bit higher rated than others. That also solves a lot of the lack of ambition and quick draw problems, because like if you have a game where like one guy's 75 points higher rated than the other, they're not just going to force a draw, especially not with white. And I think that it's good to have a more diverse range of players. There's certain players who I've seen who I think get too many invitations. There's others who I don't think get enough. I'll give you a guess which category I put myself in. But yeah, I would like to see some more diverse fields. I think that the best chess tournament usually of the year is Tata Steel, and if you look at it, it's a diverse field, and I think that they do a fantastic job. All right, so let's take this and then take g3, and I don't know, maybe this is not the best way to play, but I think it's pretty reasonable. Although I was hoping to play e4 and c2, and that's not going to work so well. Let's go rook a8 and fight for the a file. I also think that people should have other criteria for invitations than rating. I think rating should be the biggest factor, but I don't think it should be the only one. And at present, it seems like that's the only one. And I guess alongside it, you could say they don't like inviting too many players from one country, which, well, no comment beyond that. So now I get a queen. No, I don't think you need to change the point system. I think it's fine as is. A lot of it, like people are talking a lot about formats and stuff. In general, I just don't even think that's that big a deal. I think it's certain players that don't play. I think that most players at the top at any level are like, serious and fighting players. Most of them do. Most of them are. And I think if you just invite them, no problems, plain and simple. But there's a few guys who I sort of wonder why they keep getting invited. But again, it's not my decision to make. All right, Pisu, qu'est-ce qu'on va faire? Oh, I've played with you once before. And your uncle Scrooge? I don't know who that is, but okay. All right, let's see. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, fini. Didn't manage to show up in time. All right, let's go with Tuatara. Someone says if there's an unrated tournament, will players fight more? I'm not sure. I don't totally buy the idea that they're just so married to their ratings. I just think it might even have, sounds harsh, but I think part of fast draws are just laziness or just unwillingness to fight. Certainly some of it has to do with ratings, but I don't know. I mean, of course, you can get people making draws for very different reasons, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to talk about that too much, but it's fine. All right, so here, let's go rook d1, and here I think Caruana's line was rook d8, and I gave some very long forcing stuff. Bishop e7. This one I don't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, I don't remember this one off the top of my head. Let's just go bishop g5. That can't be too wrong. So take this, and now this light scored bishop on c8 is going to be bad, which will make black's position a bit suspect. In fact, I actually think he's already in quite a bit of trouble, because if b5, bishop d3 comes, and if bishop b7, h7 is hanging, and if he plays h6, I can take f6 and go knight e4, although this is a good move order. This is clever. So if I take f6 and knight e4, that doesn't seem exciting. Let's just back that bishop up, but yeah, h6 was a clever move order, but e5, ooh, that is asking for it. That's really asking for it. Hang on. Okay, b4, queen a3, bishop f6, knight b4 is annoying. If I start with bishop f6, and then b4, where does the queen go? She would have to go to a3, knight d5, threatens knight f6, bishop moves away, rook a1, knight b4, and queen d2 feels pretty good. I think this works, so let's do it. Takes, and now b4, and I believe that queen a3 loses to knight d5. So knight d5 comes, and now his queen is just about trapped. And on knight takes b4, I will have like queen d2 or queen b1. Yeah, guys, you can speak in French or Spanish in the chat if you want, and I'll do my best to respond, but keep in mind other people won't understand you. And if you speak Spanish, I might not understand you either, but French I will understand. All right, that one I can take this and take e6, and then bishop g6, queen g6 is coming, and this is going to be mate. All right, so yeah, this Queen's Gambit declined went very red for black very fast. Of course, you usually don't manage to win this easily, but it worked out that way this time. The position can be very dangerous for black, even if it looks like reasonably solid, and the worst it could be is slightly worse. All right, so let's play with Awake. Good luck, Awake. Let's have some fun. Do you think hard work beats talent in chess? In general, I think that it's better to have both. I think nobody would dispute that. Overall, I tend to think hard work is more important, though, yes. And I've made no secret of the fact that I don't consider myself to be a wildly talented player. But I've gotten pretty good. I've won a lot of tournaments to my name ahead of guys who I believe are more talented than me. And so you do the math as to how that can happen. So rook e8, let's go rook e1. Yeah, so g5, I think I'm supposed to go knight c4, and if knight e4 and knight d6 comes, that king just, once these pawns start trading off, it gets very open for black. And at some point, if you're going to go for this line with black, I think you really shouldn't include a4 and a6, because at some point we're going to get this. He'll go like rook d4 and probably take my pawn, and that's fine. But like when he takes on d5 and I go knight f5, one very legitimate attacking plan is to go rook a3, rook g3. So I think if black wanted to play like this and sort of, I mean, I think it's very greedy. I mean, here it just feels like it feels very risky, but like if he's going to go for something like this, I really think you want to do it with without a4, a6 included, so I don't get rook a3 coming. All right, so that's a rook on ed5. So this game ended pretty fast, but let's see who else wants to play. Play with oh, there's Borat. I'm sorry, I gotta play with Borat. Very nice. Carlson sucks, really? I think those two words don't go together very well. Magnus is absolutely amazing. Like the fact that when he's like playing really badly and totally off form and like far below what he should be, he's still like one of the best players in the world. And when he's on form, like it's not even remotely close. Nobody else can like even pretend that they can compete with him. Like there's yeah, so I don't think that I don't think you can say that about him just because he had a couple off events. Like he still makes plus scores in all of his off events, but oh, struggles. Okay, I see. It's a typo. All right. Yeah. So here we have some kind of we got a pretty normal looking Sicilian. It doesn't look that much like a classical, but I think this is a very good version for white or for black. It's like there's a Sicilian called like I think it's the Grievous Sicilian where you go queen b6 and then queen c7, and that's what happened here. Except in this case, white also went bishop c4, bishop d3. So I think he's down a tempo on where he'd like to be, and already I kind of like black's position here. If he ever plays g4, d5 is going to come, which. But if he doesn't play g4, I don't know what he does do is the problem. So I think that this is just not a great position for white. Okay, so queen g3 makes some sense, I guess. But I don't believe you're going to take on g7, so I dare you. I don't think you want to allow rook g8 and rook g2. So e5, sure, I guess that makes some sense. If I take on d3, that's, hang on, take d3, ef6, knight b2, chaotic. Let's take this and then maybe knight h5 is necessary, which I'm not thrilled about, but you gotta do what you gotta do. Yeah, I was probably careless to play bishop e7, but the funny thing is, I mean, I think I've played this game kind of badly, but I also think black is totally fine. So the line here with white where he goes bishop c4, bishop back to d3, it just feels very wrong to me. All right, and so Bogdan Yermeshia, knight c4 and b4 was interesting. Knight c2, b4 was interesting. I don't know. I really don't like opening the c file with my king still in the center like that. But yeah, here I think I have a pretty healthy position. I mean, his queen on g4 is sort of misplaced because he'd like to attack my knight somehow. Yeah, so bishop g5 is probably not a great move. I was thinking he should play bishop h6 to stop me from castling. But it's not terrible either. Let's just castle, and then I can fix my knight with knight g7 to f5. And yes, to Flint Basher, I did analyze this line. I think bishop f4 is better than bishop e3 as he played. But yeah, so Magnus is an outstanding chess player, but I don't like his personality that much. I don't know. People have said that. I have no idea why. I don't know Magnus that well, but I've worked on his team, and I find him to be a totally reasonable guy to be around. And I mean, he has, I guess, some kind of sense of humor that's, I guess, might be off-putting to some people, but it matches well with me. I think he's a very agreeable person, and I don't know why he has that reputation, if anyway. All right, so I thought I could play rook c4 here, but now I'm noticing he will have knight d2. I could just give an exchange on c3. It's kind of tempting. I can also go rook c4, knight d2, rook d4. That doesn't look bad either. I don't want to let his knight just get to e4. That would be unpleasant. Rook c3 and knight d5. You know what? We're playing Banter Blitz. I'm not totally sure I believe in this, but we're going to give it a try. Rook c3 and then knight d5 comes, and then rook c8 and knight f5 and lots of compensation. In my opinion, what kind of chances does Nepo have against Magnus? I think Magnus is a huge favorite. In my experience, there's two kinds of World Championship matches. Matches where Magnus is not on form, and Magnus when he is on form. When he's not on form, he wins a close match, and when he is on form, he wins a not close match. Like between Anand twice, Karyakin and Caruana, like I think that objectively speaking, Karyakin is probably the worst chess player of those three. And I also think he was the only one who like legitimately had a chance to win at some point. Like he was actually up a game. And I think that had more to do with just Magnus was really off form. And when he was playing very badly, like, Vichy, for example, got completely clobbered both matches. And I don't actually think he played worse than Caruana or Karyakin. I really don't. I think Magnus was just on form. And when Magnus is on form, it doesn't particularly matter how well you play. While the other matches when he was off form, they were much closer. So, who do I think is strongest, Kasparov at his peak or Magnus? I think Magnus is stronger, but it's also not a fair fight. Like he had resources that Kasparov didn't. I've found that old people love to talk about rating inflation as if it's real. I just don't believe it. I think ratings are totally objective, and I don't really believe in rating inflation. So if Magnus was higher rated, I believe he's stronger. There's no mathematical basis behind rating inflation. In fact, there's more mathematical basis behind rating deflation. Imagine some kid who's like, I don't know, 8 years old, comes in with like an early rating of 1200 and then gets really good, makes it up to 1900 and then quits when he gets older. Like this is a pretty common theme in the US. Like he's just sucked rating points out of the system. Like that's actually mathematically sound. Rating points that were in the system he took away and then he stopped playing chess. And that's like a basis for rating deflation. No one has presented to me any argument for how rating inflation is real apart from, oh, I'm old and I wish I were more respected. So yeah, let's go H6. But in general, as people are saying, I don't particularly like comparing across generations. All right, so this is definitely a stressful position, but I think I should be winning. So I'll take H2 and hit that rook. If knight F6, I have queen E5. So he goes there. Let's go rook E6 and make sure not to. All right, so let's take this. So now I'm confident I've consolidated. All right, rook D6, challenge this queen. All right, so good game to Monkey King. I have time for one more quick game, so I'll see if I can find a 3-minute one. It looks like Beth Hamon is back, so let's play with Beth Hamon, and hopefully Beth Hamon shows up this time. Beth Hamon, if you make me abort you twice, you will have definitely gotten on my bad side. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Let's see if any 3-minute games are. Let's play with Erdnus Carlson. Last one before we call it a day. All right, we got a game this time. Let's play Classical Sicilian and see if this fellow can challenge me there. All right, so bishop g5, e6. We're playing queen d2 or queen d3? Queen d2, sure. Stick with the main repertoire, f4, f3. And yes, I'm going to be busy with tournaments. I'm currently in Prague. I arrived today. Prague Masters starts on Monday. That'll be my first real event in like a year and a half. Then after that, I have World Cup, potentially European Club Cup, US Championship, FIDE Grand Swiss. I mean, the tournament schedule will pick up very quickly. So, yeah. All right. So here, I was very happy with the analysis I did in this variation. And this is one of the most critical lines White can play. And I think I basically just gave black a very comfortable position, and I got good positions against like Robson and Dominguez. I lost to Robson, beat Dominguez, and then the only person who actually got a good position against me in this line was Hikaru, and I managed to trick him and win. But I just think these positions are quite dangerous for white. Like, okay, so h5 strikes me as incredibly optimistic. I'm gonna start with b4 maybe. What, b4, h6, e5, queen g1. I don't believe. All right, let's just go h6 and be safe. I think at this point he probably should pull the emergency break and take on d6, but he doesn't. So let's let the violence begin. A pretty common theme in this line is to just play b4 and pitch a pawn. He doesn't want it, which is understandable. But rook c8, and now a5 comes, and I think my attack will be much stronger. So let's go with a4 and keep this pushing. Okay, so this guy's not messing around. I respect that. But I also think there's no way that's going to work. So I'm going to take this one and then go b3. And I think that black's attack should be significantly faster here. Well, maybe significantly faster is too generous, but a tempo can mean everything. Yeah, so there. Let's take this one. And then a3, and I think I'm just going to mate him first. And in the meantime, even if I don't mate here, which, and I don't want to say I won't mate because I will mate, but even if I don't, like, I'm just a piece up as well, and I don't think he's really in position to crush through yet. What's my favorite chess piece? The king, of course. You want to take it and you don't want to lose your own. You will find it hard to win without a king, while any other piece you can win without. I think this h5 and then sacrifice on h6 was very optimistic from white. Black's play was just too fast. Okay, but that's just checkmate, right? Check and mate on c3. All right, so that's a good way to end the session. Yeah, so thanks for being here, everybody. This was fun. I talked today. I spent a lot more time talking with the chat than about the actual games on the board, which is a little bit of a change for me. But yeah, I will see you guys for the next session after Prague, and thanks to all those sending me for good wishes.
Want to raise your chess to a new level? Challenge Yourself is an exclusive, innovative experience designed for Chess24 Premium members. Train like a champ with a unique set of lessons prepared by the coaches of the challengers. Boris Girlfriend and Co. will help you improve your chess. Play versus a champ. Play a grandmaster each day in Banter Blitz. Take advantage of this incredible opportunity from June 10th. Go premium and challenge yourself. Want to